What's popping my pimples? Welcome back to Waluigi Probably. I asked you for your Sonic hot takes, unpopular opinions, and tough questions in my community tab, and I'll be going over the best ones in this video. If you want to submit your own takes for a future video, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can catch the next time I do a video like this. Also, in case it wasn't obvious, shout out to Wallthony Prowtano, who I stole this format from. We love that bald man here. Movie Sonic is arguably the best Sonic design we've gotten. It removes the one eye, which makes room for better expressions. They tone down the hands and feet, which makes for better posing. Parts of him having fur and parts of him having spines are great attention to detail. And Sonic looks really good with a middle mouth. Oh yeah, and I also like the blue arms. Well, I like the black arms. I think it's a completely valid opinion to have that Movie Sonic is the best designed. It may not be my personal favorite, but for adapting Sonic into a live-action movie, I don't think they could have made anything that would have topped what we have now. It feels like a proper evolution for the character, just like modern Sonic was an evolution of classic Sonic in the late 90s. He had to evolve with the times and the ways in which he was presented to the world. With that being said, I do disagree with some of the points brought up here as, to why he's great. In particular, the whole one-eye argument. Sonic can be incredibly expressive with his eyes connected, like they are in the games. Sega are just stupid and don't know how to animate it anymore. Funnily enough, Smash Bros. Brawl does the best job at showcasing the range of emotions Sonic is able to portray with his eyes. Hell, you can even look at the classics and see how much they were able to do to make his eyes work. Sega has just sterilized the poor hedgehog over time. I'm an Amy fan, and I have to say, one of Amy's main traits shouldn't be has a crush on Sonic. It doesn't matter that this was her characterization in the Adventure era, that doesn't make it good. It's not that it was a product of the Adventure era, it's been a product of her character since the start. It made for an interesting dynamic between her and Sonic, because while you had a lot of games at the time treating the girl as the thing to win in the game, Sonic had no interest in Amy. He saved her in Sonic CD because it was the right thing to do, but any romantic interest or advances that she had in Sonic, he completely rejected. And I find that a way more interesting dynamic than just simply the two have a crush on each other. Of course, when she made more of an appearance in the Adventure era, she was given a lot more of a character, becoming a bit of an optimistic hothead who also had a crush on Sonic. And that's cute, man. I don't know what to tell you. I've always seen her crush on Sonic as a way to assist other character traits, whether it be Sonic's or hers. How Sega has gone about it over the years has been very hit or miss, but I'd take that any day over how she's been handled in the last decade. If anything, Amy not having a crush on Sonic doesn't make her a good character either. I don't get why people hate Sonic Forces. Yeah, the game was short, but aside from that, I don't see anything wrong with it. Also, I like Infinite. Hey man, power to you. As time goes on and the people who played Forces as their first Sonic game grow up, this is going to be a more frequently asked question, and the answer is pretty reliant on the context of this point in time. The reason Forces is so looked down upon has to do with how it was marketed and the point in time it was released. Prior to Forces, the last true Sonic game was released in 2011 with Sonic Generations. Between then and 2017, when we got Forces, we got Sonic Lost Worlds, which was not a Sonic game at all, Sonic Boom, which I kid you not, did more damage to Sega than 06 ever did, and a bunch of other forgettable spin-offs. Morale was at an all-time low, so it felt like the next Sonic game needed to deliver. In comes Forces, which was marketed as a return to form. It looked as though fans were finally getting a darker and more serious Sonic story with the boost formula of gameplay. After being burned so many times in this decade, fans thought this is where things were going to look up, especially with the release of Sonic Mania, only for the game to underdeliver on every front the fans were looking forward to. Nowadays, you can go back and play it with fresh eyes, and the game is fine, I guess. But it's because of when it was released and what it was initially promising to be that made it so hated among longtime fans. I think more people are going back to it now and finding things to enjoy about the title, for sure. But as a Sonic fan, I do not miss this era one bit. Sonic Frontiers is poppin' isn't a flaw, it's a feature. You can't see half the bloody island with all of those platforms. Funnily enough, myself, Sam Procrastinates, and Quite were all talking about Sonic Frontiers the other night, and we were showing Quite just how bad the pop-in was, and I kid you not, it was way worse than I remembered. I don't care if this comment is being sarcastic or not, I'm treating it as genuine. Frontiers' pop-in is not a feature, it's not a quirk of the time, it's inexcusable for a AAA title, and I swear, if it's not patched in Frontiers Switch 2 Edition, Sega needs to be torn a new one. Honestly, Frontiers feels like it's being held together by duct tape the more I look back at the game now. The game feels like a transition between the 2010s era and the future of the franchise, and I hope this next game delivers a much better experience. Otherwise, I will legitimately crash out and bully Sega relentlessly. I am so serious. The US soundtrack for Sonic CD is one of the most underrated things in the whole franchise. First of all, I recognize you. Thanks for supporting me on Patreon. I love you. Secondly, I absolutely agree. Don't get twisted. I will ride or die for the Japanese soundtrack in that game, but due to everybody else ride or dying for that soundtrack, the American version is consistently pushed to the side. To quote J. Cole, they act like two legends can't coexist. Let's not forget, the American version gave us Sonic Boom, which I would argue is a much better opening than Doot Doot Sonic Warrior. Like, that has a whole crowd of its own, but like, come on now. You also got Palm Tree Panic, which sounds tropical as hell. The boss theme, which is the most terrifying piece of Sonic music ever produced. Collision Chaos feels incredibly atmospheric, and Tidal Tempest feels like the precursor to Rouge the Bat's music in Adventure 2. Like, is it beating the Japanese soundtrack? No, but there are a bunch of hidden gems in that soundtrack that are completely overlooked by fans at large. Jim Carrey being in the Sonic movies pisses me off, especially in Sonic 3. Watching it in the theaters made me so disappointed because I was expecting way more Shadow in the Shadow movie. Like, I get Jim Carrey fits the role as Eggman, and I agree, but let's be for real for a second. He's only there to appeal to a bigger audience. And that's why I'm hoping for Agent Stone to have a bigger villain arc so he can pave the way for the franchise. Girl said, "Give me Sonic with nothing." Jim Carrey is both a key role in the movie as Robotnik and Gerald, as well as being one of the best parts in this adaptation as a whole. I get being mixed about characters like Tom and Maddie, but being mad at the villain that sets the events of the movies into action, I think your complaints are less about Jim Carrey and more wanting the characters to have more screen time. Unfortunately, with these live action movies, they gotta save money where they can, so they keep the animation to the absolute minimal they can get away with, and rely on the humans as a way to pad out the movies. This problem would be solved if Paramount just released an animated movie of some sorts, or even a TV series. Nudge nudge, wink wink. I think Jim Carrey does an amazing job in the films. I think Agent Stone is also great, but their core problem is less about a single person and more the fundamentals of doing a live-action Sonic movie franchise. I don't think any of the characters from Archie should come into the main series. From what I have seen, I personally don't like how they're designed and just don't think they would fit in with the modern cast. Also, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I just want to say, in my 15 years of making YouTube videos, I got my first community guideline strike the other day because of a video that featured Sally Acorn dancing. So already, the freedom fighters are on thin ice with me. No, but in all seriousness, I do agree. The freedom fighters and just Archie universe as a whole are a product of a bygone era. And while I'd love to see them make an appearance in like a spin-off title or mobile game, for example, when it comes to the mainline Sonic games, they don't need to be there, and I don't think they'll ever be. Not much of a hot take, but I'm just saying Sally Acorn in Sonic Crossworlds would be an amazing addition and tribute to the American history of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I would prefer if Sega didn't flat out ignore its impact on the franchise as a whole. You should low-key call yourself Wallace and Gromit. What are your Sonic hot takes? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks to my patrons who make videos like this possible, and you for watching. Also, if you want another one of these, let me know in the comments below. Okay, bye!